Hey guys, it's me LC and I am back with another video review. This time, Love After Lockup, Season 6, Episode 8, Wife or Warden. So the episode picks up with Will and Courtney at their wedding that they had 24 hours after her getting out of jail down in the wine cellar. They don't even have rings to exchange, and he ends up using a scrunchie, like a hair tie, to put on her finger as a wedding ring. So after the wedding, because it was really quick, they had to rush the mom to the airport. So they're driving and he almost gets into an accident, and he goes to talk about like one accident where like the car flipped a few times and, like blessed to be alive. And then she goes on to tell him about an accident that she had where she almost lost her life. She has this huge gash on her head because she was in a car accident. She didn't have her seatbelt on and she flew out the car, landed on the pavement, and bust her head open. She had to get like stitches and staples, all that. And then her boyfriend at the time ended up running off and leaving her. So since she still has to go to the halfway house, they couldn't even consummate their marriage. So they rolled back home. He dropped her off at the halfway house and he called her about 20 minutes later when he got back to the hotel. And she sounded wasted on the phone. I don't know if this is just scripted, WeTV stuff, or she was really high or drunk. But he didn't like it. But she didn't like the fact that he called her out on it and that he didn't check on her to make sure that she was okay. All right, so our next couple we have is Kiana and Demondrick. And this week they're on, quote unquote, of their first date since he's out of jail. And they go to a cake decorating place. And they decorate these little mini cakes and stuff. And so in the last episode, his dad gave him the family ring. And he puts it on the cake to give to Kiana. But dude didn't even propose. He literally just said, oh, this is a promise that we're going to be together forever. I guess it's a promise ring, but they grown with kids and all kind of stuff. So I'm not really understanding. And she didn't ever say I do. So I hope she don't think that they're engaged. And maybe she just, they have an understanding. She just was like, oh, I'm gonna go around showing my ring and all of this stuff. But I don't know. He seems to still be playing these games because he's calling his baby mama Joella behind her back. And it seemed like next week it's going to go up. So next we got Julius and Alexis. Ashley is not in this episode or last episode. So, so they basically wake up in bed. It seems like some weeks later, I hope, or maybe a couple of months. I don't know. It doesn't really say. And they just chilling in bed and talking about he gonna go to the studio and rap and make a new song. And she's like, oh, put me on the song or make a song about me. And I'm gonna sing on that thing. But she on his head also because she's like, well, who you going with? And he's like, oh, I'm going with a couple of my homeboys, whatever. And she don't trust him. In the last episode, she wanted to share locations and he wasn't with that. And so, she just still sus. So she ended up putting a tracker on her car because he's using her car, and she put a tracker on her car so that she could see where he at, where he going all the time. So she hasn't been feeling well. Talking about she been feeling nauseous. She's on the phone with her best friend, and the best friend pull up with 2 pregnancy tests, and she take them, and they are positive. As you guys know, they had a baby back in like March or April, a little girl named Juliana. So right after she take the pregnancy test, she was like, oh, I'm just going to call Julius and tell him. And she looked at the location and he not at the studio. He at some like clothing store or something like that. And she pull up on him with her best friend. And it's 2 chicks and 2 dudes. And man, she's like, who is these girls? All right. So next we got Savannah and Bradley. They are still a snooze fest. It's literally like a couple of days after this guy is out of jail. So I could tell filming didn't last long with them because literally they've been dragging out this 23 days for like a year. And it's just crazy. So anyways, he comes back with the car because he don't want her to report the car stolen. And he has to go see a lawyer about a lawsuit about something in jail. And basically the lawyer reads Savannah and tell her like, girl, you need to calm down. You guys need to get back to dating again because you sound like his parole officer. You sound like a warden. Like, it's just not, going to work out if you keep behaving like this. And she was so offended. She was so mad. She was like, oh, what is she, a therapist? And this, that, and the third. Anyways, he was like, I can't take this no more, and I'm about to go to my dad's house. And she was like, well, I'll take you. And he was like, well, I'm driving there right now. And he drove himself to his dad's house. And then, of course, once he's out the car, she calls Alyssa, which is his sister, to tell the tea. She needs another friend because it's like always venting to the sister. And of course, the sister don't go back and tell her brother what's going on. So that's a very toxic relationship, but they not no longer together anyway. So, all right, born old, Joey and Michael. So Michael, it left off last week where Michael tried to say he failed his drug test. He had that stupid ass look on his face. So we knew he was lying. And he was like, oh, fooled you. This first drug test I ever passed in my life, blah, blah, blah. And he was proud of himself. But I don't know how long that's going to last because he trying to get away from Joey. So he goes to meet up with Joey's family, his mom, dad, brother, and sister. And it was just a lot. Like they're a sober family and they were talking about just being clean and everything that, drug addicts or some people in recovery don't want to hear, So he had to get up and excuse himself, and he went and called his friend and said it was like sitting there with 5 Joeys. It was so funny because like they all look alike, they sound alike, and I'm sure he was just overwhelmed with all the question asking. All right, last but not least, we got Brooklyn and Brian. So this episode was definitely a little bit more exciting than last week. Last week they had the little barbecue or the little family, him coming home, and everybody was down his throat. So this week he basically been home 2 months and he needs to get a job or he gonna go back to prison. And so one of his friends is gonna pull up, take him to go work clothes shopping. And it was cute. She was like, do you need some money? And he was like, no, my parents gave me some money. I mean, it was nice for him not to use her money, but like, bro, you need to go get you a job because it just ain't cute to be asking your parents for money. So then he says that his friend is there. He tells his friend, like, just pull up, I'm coming downstairs. And she's like, no, I want to meet your friend. Can he come in real quick so I can meet him? And he was like, no, I don't want you to meet him. You can meet him on the way back because we're on a time schedule or whatever. And so then he leaves and she comes downstairs anyway. And she's like, hey, my name is Brooklyn. And the dude looking at her like she's crazy. And then she was like, ground rules. No women, no this. He needs to be back by this. And he's like, hey, calm down. Like, no disrespect. What the hell? Like, I got him. Don't trip. So they end up leaving. They go clothes shopping. And they just talking while they in there. And the friend is really like a bad friend. Because he said, asked him, do you really want to settle down with her? We in the era of BBLs and it's just so much more out there. Then he said, I'm about to take you to the strip club. Mind you, he got to be back at 3 o'clock. It's 2:38. And he talking about going in there real quick to get some wings. It is 2:38 and you need to be there by 3. It's no way you're going to make it. So that's where it leaves off. And that's really it. Tell me what you guys think about these couples below. Are they a hot mess? Are you guys still here for this drama? Until then, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.